two different perspectives of that meeting. Let's bring in our panel. Matthew Continetti, editor-in-chief of the Washington Free Beacon. A.B. Stoddard, associate editor at Real Clear Politics, and Washington Post columnist Marc Thiessen. Marc, you know, going in here, a lot of people in Washington said eventually the onus is going to be on the president. There's going to be pressure building when you see all these federal workers not getting a check. Again, they have yet to miss a check until Friday.
That's right.
Is there a tipping point the other way where people say, wait a second, a lot of these Democrats have voted for a lot of border security and passed bills, understanding that they were part of comprehensive deals, and they are not giving anything on the border security issue? Does the onus go the other way?
Oh, I think it definitely does, and relatively soon. I mean, if you look at the speeches last night, Donald Trump used a word in the speech. He said compromise. The Democrats, if you look at Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi's speech, the word compromise didn't reach in. So I'd tell Senator Kennedy there's a fifth option, which is compromise. I mean, we're now about...
By the way, look at this image. This is from last night and these two speeches. If this is not the start of Saturday Night Live, I don't know what will be, but clearly it seems well positioned for the open of SNL. Okay.
That's the state of our country today. I mean, look, we're about to hit on Saturday, assuming nothing miraculous happens in the next few days, the longest government shutdown in American history. It's already reached another historic milestone, which is the stupidest government shutdown in American history, because we have a $4.4 trillion federal budget. And we are having a fight right now about the difference between $1.3 billion that the Democrats have approved for a wall and $5.7 billion that President Trump is demanding, which is 0.0998% of the federal budget. And on top of that, as you point out, for a wall that the Democrats have already supported before he came into office. In 2013, Chuck Schumer, who was a member of the Gang of Eight, Dick Durbin, who was also a member of the Gang of Eight, and Nancy Pelosi, who supported it in the House, supported the Gang of Eight bill, which not only funded 700 miles of border fence, it said that no illegal immigrants could get a path to citizenship until the wall was completed. That was 5 years ago. Now all of a sudden the wall is an immorality. The Democrats have leverage here. What's amazing here is that they should be using this to get Trump to agree to a whole bunch of things, and they're giving up their leverage unilaterally over nothing. So that's why. And so eventually, as you say, they'll own it if they don't compromise.
And is Trump derangement syndrome part of that? I mean, it's interesting to see. You know, AB, 4 standalone appropriations bills will be voted on and likely passed, and that is financial services, transportation, housing, urban development, agriculture, rural development, Department of Interior, environment, related agencies. The OMB has already issued this veto threat, saying moving these 4 bills without a broader agreement to address the border crisis is unacceptable. If these bills are presented to the president, his advisors would recommend that he vetoes these bills. Where does this stop?
Well, I, too, was surprised that Senator Kennedy did not present the possibility of a compromise, because the more interesting, I mean, the speeches, I'm interested in what Marc found, in the fact that the word compromise was only used by the president, but the speeches are done. No one remembers them. They remember the candy being passed out at the meeting today, and 2 completely separate versions of what happened at the meeting in the Situation Room. The more interesting meeting today took place in Senator Lindsey Graham's office, where Jared Kushner, the president's son-in-law, who's now dealing with Democrats on a regular basis because he helped pass criminal justice reform, is talking with other Republican senators about the possibility of some kind of DACA dangle. It is not legalization for the Dreamers. It would be work permits in exchange for some kind of wall money. This is the start of a place where compromise could happen. I agree with Marc, I think, and you. I think the Democrats at some point have to look like they're asking for something in this deal, instead of just resisting what has been a demand on the president's part all along. And if they don't, they are complicit in dragging this out. And it should be something that bears political cost on the president. The wall will bear political cost on them, and anything that the president's right-wing base believes is amnesty, as they did with his last DACA offer, will bring a political cost to him. That's the way out of the shutdown. Both sides have to win, and they both have to hurt.
And Lindsey Graham, I think, is cobbling together things and bills to move forward that Democrats have brought forward before in order to say, hey, listen, you guys brought this forward. Let's put this as part of this deal. Matthew, it feels like Democrats want the paycheck to be missed. Even though they say they want it to be open, it feels like they want the political pain to be realized before negotiating.
You know, I noticed something interesting, and just in the hours since the speeches, President Trump and the Republicans continuing to talk about border security. Pelosi and Schumer, though, now shifting focus to the government workers, because maybe they're not on a solid political ground if it is them being intransigent over a fence or wall that they have voted for in the past. So you're right, there may be slightly cynically hoping to miss that first paycheck. I wonder, though, if it gets to a second paycheck. We already see people beginning to blame the Democrats or assign them some responsibility for the shutdown. More people assign President Trump responsibility, but that number assigning the Democrats responsibility is rising. That will continue to rise as the shutdown goes on. And I also have to wonder, here's Nancy Pelosi's restoration as Speaker of the House. And she's going to spend, what, her first month dealing with this and not all of that liberal wish list that she had wanted to pass legislation on and shift the debate in terms of liberal agenda. So I continue to believe the longer this drags on, the more leverage President Trump has.
Over under 1 week, resolved or not?
Over.
I hope it's a week. I hope it's a week. That's possible.
Resolved in a week.
Wow, there you go. Next up, state and local officials push their jurisdictions to the far left. We'll explain.